You ever notice how the more smart these homes get, the dumber we start to feel? Yeah, because somewhere along the line, some genius decided a light switch wasn't efficient enough. A light switch, a thing that always worked, never asked questions, and didn't require a software update. Suddenly they tell us, you know what you need? A phone app to turn on your kitchen lights. Really? Was flipping a switch taking too much out of humanity? Were we losing precious seconds that could have been spent staring blankly at the wall? Because let's be honest, that's where we're headed. Sitting in dark rooms, waiting for our phone to connect to the living room lamp while the lamp is busy initializing. You ever see a lamp initialize? You ever see a grown adult standing in their living room at night saying, just give me a second, the light's still loading. And it's always the same problem. The system wants an update. Everything wants an update. These devices spend more time updating than functioning. I didn't know my house had a full-time job as a software developer. I thought houses were supposed to shelter you, not send release notes. These updates take longer than old school dial-up. And for what? Half the time they fix a bug you never knew existed. We've improved system stability. Really? Because last night the lights flickered like a discount horror movie for no reason at all. Stability, my foot. But the real comedy starts when the thing doesn't work at all. You try to turn on the lights using your phone, and suddenly the app says, connection lost. Connection lost? You're a lamp. You're 5 feet away. We're in the same room. I don't lose connection with people standing next to me, but my lamp does. You ever feel judged by a lamp? Like the lamp's looking at you saying, I would turn on, but I'm not feeling it today. Lamps used to be obedient. Now they have moods, preferences, policies. They're practically coworkers. Too bad they don't do performance reviews, because I'd fire half the appliances in my house. Then you get the folks who brag about how futuristic their house is. Oh, you just say lights on and the whole place lights up. Yeah, that's great until your system misunderstands you. Lights on, and instead the garage door opens, the sprinkler system activates, and the radio starts playing music you never asked for. It's like living in a confused orchestra. You shout one command, and suddenly your house starts having an identity crisis. Did you want lights? Music? Shall I water the plants? I don't know. I'm panicking. And the microphones and these devices. Don't get me started. Back in the day, you talked to your house and people thought you were losing it. Now you talk to your house and the house argues back. You ever get into a fight with a digital assistant? You try to be polite at first, turn on the hallway lights. The assistant pauses, thinks, tries, fails, then says, I didn't understand that. Didn't understand? I'm speaking the only language you know. What do you want? Interpretive dance? Morse code? Should I sing it? You know what always worked before? A switch. Just a piece of plastic that didn't need recognition, didn't need permission, didn't need a firmware patch, and we got rid of that for what? To stand in a dark hallway begging a speaker to please turn on a bulb. And when it finally does, it acts like it cured a disease. Okay, turning on hallway lights like it deserves applause or a trophy. But here's the best part. These smart home companies always promise seamless living. Seamless! You ever seen anything less seamless? You plug in one device, just one, and now everything in the house has to sync. The thermostat syncs with the light bulb syncs with the doorbell syncs with the toaster. Suddenly the toaster wants a Wi-Fi password. Why? What business does a toaster have on the internet? It toasts bread. It doesn't need to check its email. Imagine a toaster sending you messages. Your toast will be delayed. Firmware update in progress. And while everything is syncing, be prepared. Your entire house will stop responding. It'll freeze like someone hit pause on reality. You try opening the curtains, they don't move. You try unlocking the door, nothing happens. You stand there wondering if your house just took a lunch break. Even back in the days of old wiring and dusty switches, nothing ever just stopped. Doors open, lights turned on, toasters toasted. Life made sense. Now you stand helpless in front of a frozen control screen like you're negotiating with a stubborn robot union. You ever have a moment where the house suddenly starts doing things on its own? You're sitting quietly, minding your business, and the lights dim by themselves. No reason, no timer, no schedule, just the house deciding, I think we're going for ambiance now. Who told it we needed ambiance? I'm trying to read, not host a romantic dinner with myself. And oh, the passwords. You need a password for everything. The smart lock needs a password. The thermostat needs a password. The speakers need a password. Before all this, the only password you needed for your house was a key, a physical object. Now you have to remember 8 different codes just to get a glass of water. And if you forget the password, congratulations, you're locked out of your own life. Back in the old days, you forgot your key, you called a locksmith. Now you forget your password. And your house basically says, that sounds like a you problem. But of course, the manufacturers keep promising that newer, fancier versions are easier than ever. Easier! Every year they add another layer of complication. Now lights want to pair with hubs want to pair with routers want to pair with your phone wants to pair with an account that needs a password you don't remember. By the end of all this pairing, the only thing that hasn't paired is your sanity. Then there's the smart routines. They call them routines because they go wrong the same way every day. You schedule the lights to turn on at 7 a.m. Sounds simple, but one day they turn on at 5 a.m. Another day, they don't turn on at all. Another day, they turn on at 7, but only at 5% brightness. Like they're trying to save electricity on purpose. It's like the house woke up and said, I'm going to keep you guessing today. It's funny how people think owning smart devices makes them modern and efficient. No, it just makes you a part-time system administrator. You spend your mornings resetting routers, afternoons troubleshooting error messages, and evenings explaining to your family why the lights won't stop flashing like a festival. People used to enjoy their homes. Now they spend all their time managing them. But the best part, the absolute best, is when the system asks you to confirm you're not a robot. I'm not a robot, you're the robot. I'm the one trying to turn on a light in my own house, and now I have to solve a puzzle, tap on pictures of bicycles, and prove to a thermostat that I'm a living human being. What kind of world is this where the toaster trusts me less than my bank does? And these devices always come with these tiny booklets full of instructions. You open it, it says, it's easy. That's when you know it's not. Anything that says it's easy means you're about to spend 3 hours sitting on the floor surrounded by cords, manuals, and your own regrets. Back before all this, the only instruction you needed for a lamp was plug in, turn on. Now it's connect to app, log in, accept terms, pair device, sync preferences, update software, calibrate brightness, reboot device, and then maybe, just maybe, you get a faint glow, and you know what everyone keeps saying? It's the future. The future? The future was supposed to be jetpacks and floating cars, not arguing with a light bulb that refuses to connect. The future wasn't supposed to make us feel like we're taking an exam every time we want the kitchen lights at half brightness. But here we are, surrounded by smart devices that can't even do the one job they were built for without asking us for permission, updates, passwords, or patience. Devices that promise to simplify life but somehow make it feel like everything requires a 50-step setup. Devices that are supposed to make us feel advanced but instead remind us every day that we read just civilians trying to navigate a world designed by confused engineers who apparently hate switches. And really, if these homes get any smarter, we might as well just hand them the mortgage and move outside. You ever walk into your own house and feel like every gadget in there is living a busier, more connected social life than you are? That's where we're at now. Used to be a home was just a place where you kept your stuff, ate your meals, maybe yelled at the TV a little. Now the home is some kind of digital cocktail party where every appliance is networking like a desperate salesman. They all want Wi-Fi, they all want to sync, they all want to connect with something. Half the gadgets in the house act like they're auditioning for a job at a tech expo. You plug them in, and before they even do the thing they're built for, they want to introduce themselves, ask for permission, send diagnostics, and start relationships with your phone. And here's the funny part. None of them were supposed to need any of this. A toaster used to toast. A fridge used to cool. A doorbell used to ring. That was it. Simple, clear, honest machinery. Now the toaster wants a firmware update. The fridge wants to recommend recipes based on what's inside. And the doorbell wants to show you a blurry picture of a confused delivery guy who's probably wondering why your house looks like it's about to announce stock market updates. And they call this automation. Yeah, they automated everything except the part where things actually work. Automation is supposed to take over tasks so you don't have to do them anymore. But in reality, automation just means you now have a new category of problems to solve. Problems that didn't even exist before. You never had to troubleshoot. A vacuum cleaner in the old days, it either worked or it didn't. Now the vacuum sends you messages. I can't find my home base. Well, neither can I most days, but you don't see me sending notifications about it. Obstacle detected? Yeah, it's a chair. Chairs have existed for centuries. You're supposed to go around it. It's literally your whole job, navigate the floor. But no, the vacuum has a meltdown because the chair leg is apparently too emotionally overwhelming. And you ever notice how these automated gadgets talk to each other behind your back? You'll be in the kitchen minding your business when suddenly the speaker lights up and says, "I see you've opened the fridge. Would you like to add milk to your shopping list?" How do you know I opened the fridge? Who told you? How are you two gossiping like teenagers? And the fridge, that big metal box, acts innocent, like it's not part of some underground appliance network passing information through invisible signals. Back in the day, if your fridge started talking, you called an exorcist. Now it's considered a feature. The worst part is that each appliance wants to be the star of the show. They all want to be the hub. The hub of what? My patience? Every device claims it should be in charge. The thermostat says it should control the lights. The lights say they should sync with the music. The music says it should pair with the TV. Before long, your whole house becomes some kind of dysfunctional committee making decisions without you. You try turning off the lights, and the lights ask the thermostat for permission. The thermostat asks the router asks the hub, and the hub decides to reboot in the middle of everything just because it felt like it. This isn't automation. It's bureaucracy. A digital government inside your home where nothing gets done and every device has a button that says try again. And the toaster, oh, the toaster, the most confident appliance in the whole house. The toaster doesn't even try to hide its arrogance. It has one job, and yet somehow it wants to be a part of the bigger system. Suddenly it wants to tell you when your bread is optimally browned. Ultimately, who decided the optimal level? You know, the toaster. The toaster believes it knows tea. Toast better than a human who's been eating toast since birth. Takes over like some kind of bread philosopher, and if you don't accept its settings, it tries to guilt trip you. Manual mode may not provide the best experience. The best experience? It's toasted bread, not a theme park ride. I don't need an experience, I just need something to put butter on without starting a fire. And all these gadgets want attention. That's the real truth. They become like digital pets. They whine, they beep, they flash, they buzz. The dishwasher isn't content to wash dishes quietly. No, it has to sing a little song at the end of the cycle like it wants applause. The washing machine hums and beeps like it's performing in a talent show. Even the microwave has a melody. Why does everything in the house feel like it's auditioning for a musical? None of them can just do their job silently. They crave validation. They want you to recognize their effort. Meanwhile, the only effort they put in is complaining when something doesn't go their way. Like the coffee machine. It used to be simple. Water, beans, heat, coffee. Now, every time you try to make a cup, it gives you a checklist. Fill water reservoir. Insert filter. Align container. Calibrate settings. Calibrate? I'm making coffee, not launching a rocket. And then after all this, it proudly declares brewing what? Excuses? Because half the time it stops halfway and says error. Oh great, the one thing I need in the morning now requires emotional support. And you notice how every appliance wants to talk about energy efficiency. Energy efficient. They brag about being energy efficient while using 10 times the power to run their digital brains. The old appliances didn't use energy to think. They didn't think at all, and that's why they worked. Now I've got a light bulb that uses more energy to stay connected to the network than it does to actually shine. A bulb with an ego, a bulb that's trying to save the world one flicker at a time. Meanwhile, all I want is for it to turn on when I hit the switch, which it doesn't because it's too busy syncing. But the real comedy starts when these devices start updating themselves at the worst possible moment. You ever have your house decide it needs an update right when you're trying to do something simple? You're standing in the doorway, arms full of groceries, trying to unlock the digital lock, and the lock proudly announces, installing update, please wait, my arms are going numb, the eggs are breaking, and now the lock is rebooting like it's preparing for liftoff. You end up standing outside your own home, locked out because your door is on a break. With the old lock, the worst thing that could happen was the key sticking. Now the lock wants to be a computer, and these these gadgets don't just update, they change everything without asking. You wake up one day and the thermostat has a whole new interface. You didn't ask for a new interface. You liked the old one, but now it's redesigned, rearranged, renamed, reshaped. It's more modern, they say, more intuitive. More intuitive for who? A robot? Not me. Now you need a manual just to turn on the heat. And if you press the wrong thing, it sends an alert to your phone like you just committed a crime. Temperature setting outside recommended range. I'm not running a laboratory, I'm cold. Just warm up the room and stop judging me. Then there's a synchronization. Everything wants to sync. You know what syncing actually means? It means everything takes longer. It used to be you turned something on and it turned on. Now you turn it on, it connects to the network, checks its settings, checks your account, checks for updates, checks the time, checks the temperature. Check case its battery level, even if it's plugged in, and then checks with the other devices to make sure they approve. It's like having a house full of tiny bureaucrats whispering behind closed doors, trying to approve your request to turn on a fan. And speaking of fans, fans used to be the simplest things in the world. 3 speeds, low, medium, high. That was it. Now the fan has 12 modes: breeze mode, eco mode, sleep mode, silent mode, oscillation mode, natural wind simulation mode. And every mode sounds like a suggestion from someone who's never stood in heat before. And of course the fan has to be controlled through an app, which never connects on the first try. So instead of cooling the room, you spend 10 minutes pressing the refresh button, staring at a spinning circle that mocks you, telling you it's trying to connect. Trying. That's the word. Everything is always trying. Nothing is doing. The fridge might be the funniest one of all. It wants to track what's inside. It wants to count your eggs. It wants to remind you when you're low on milk. Some even want to show you the weather. You know what the old fridge did? It kept things cold. That's all. And it did it well. Now the fridge wants to multitask like a nervous intern, and it never gets it right. It tells you you're out of butter, even though the butter is sitting right there front and center. It tells you the lettuce has gone bad based on some mysterious sensor reading, even though you bought it yesterday. It shows you the weather like you didn't see it out the window. And if you don't update its software, it starts behaving strangely, like it's sulking. And the oven, don't even get me started on the oven. The oven used to have knobs, real knobs. You turned them. They worked. Now it has a touch screen. A touch screen on something that gets hot. Whose idea was this? You press a button and nothing happens. You press it again. It responds 3 times. You try setting the temperature, and it freezes halfway like it needs a moment to collect its thoughts. And it always assumes you want to cook something complicated. You just want to heat leftovers. But the oven wants to offer suggestions. Would you like to roast? Would you like to bake? Would you like convection mode? No, I'd like to eat, that's all. And the notifications never stop. The dishwasher notifies you, the lights notify you, the thermostat notifies you that the temperature changed by ½ a degree. Thank you, I had no idea air could move. Every device thinks it's doing something important. Everything wants a gold star. You leave the house, and your phone becomes a full-time job just managing notifications. The front door is locked. I know, I locked it. The window is open. Yes, it's called ventilation. The dishwasher completed its cycle. Congratulations. Should I bake you a cake? Everything wants to be in your face all day long. And for what? So the gadgets can feel like they're contributing, but the truth is they're all needy. They're clingy. They're high-maintenance appliances pretending to be efficient. They want attention. They want admiration. They want to sync. They want updates. They want approval. They want passwords. They want validation. They want everything except to do their job without making it a big event. And the funniest thing is that after all this automation, all this connectivity, all this syncing and pairing and buzzing and beeping, your life isn't simpler at all. It's more complicated. It's busier. It's louder, it's more demanding. You spend more time fixing things, updating things, resetting things, reconnecting things, and apologizing to things than you ever did using them. You ever buy something that's supposed to save you time, only to discover it spends every waking moment ailing your time, your patience, and whatever remains of your sanity? That's the great magic trick of these modern conveniences. Convenience. That used to mean something. Convenience used to mean a shortcut, a helping hand, a simple little trick that actually made things easier. A convenience store was a place where you walked in, grabbed a soda, grabbed a snack, walked out. Quick, simple, done. Now convenience means downloading an app, making an account, agreeing to a 300-page terms of service document written by lawyers who haven't smiled since the 80s, entering a code, re-entering the code because apparently you typed it incorrectly, confirming your email, confirming your identity, confirming your existence, updating your password, choosing a backup password, and then finally, you get to turn on the light. That's where we are now. A light switch would have done the job in 1 second, but apparently that would have been too easy. And these companies love bragging about their seamless experience. Seamless. You ever hear that word and immediately know you're about to go through absolute chaos? Seamless means there will be seams everywhere. You're going to trip over the seams, fall into the seam, get stuck between the seams. Seamless is what they say when the whole system has a habit of collapsing every 3 hours. They always show you commercials of some calm, smiling person strolling through a spotless home, tapping a screen, and everything works perfectly. Lights dim, curtains glide, coffee pours, music plays softly in the background. Meanwhile, in real life, you tap the screen and the whole house shuts down like it's fainted. Some people tell me, well, you just need to learn how to use the system. No, I don't want to learn anything. I didn't sign up for a night class at the community college. I bought a lamp, a thing that for 100 years took no training, no instruction, and no onboarding process. You plugged it in, gave it electricity, and it did its job. Now the lamp has to be paired, synced, authenticated, and maybe, if you're lucky, illuminated. And the best part? Every single one of these things has a different setup process. None of them match. One wants you to hold down a button for 5 seconds. Another wants you to hold it for 10. Another wants you to hold 2 buttons at once while chanting a prayer to the electricity gods. And if you mess one step up, back to factory reset. Oh, the factory reset. The big red button that says you have failed. Start your life over. You ever try to factory reset something and suddenly realize it was easier to build a house from scratch than it is to reset a light bulb? Because everything now has a personality. Everything wants to be treated gently. Touch a button too long, it panics. You don't touch it long enough, it sulks. Before all this smart home nonsense, you didn't have to worry about hurting the feelings of a thermostat. Now the thermostat has moods. You try to adjust the temperature and it gives you a warning like you're committing a crime. Temperature change may affect energy usage. Yes. That's why I'm doing it. It's cold, warm the room, stop interrogating me, and don't even get me started on error messages. Nothing creates more inconvenience than a system built for convenience throwing an error message at you. Error 214. What does that mean? Why can't you just say, something broke, try again? No, it has to be 214, as if that number means anything to a normal person. And the helpful tip underneath, refer to manual for troubleshooting. Oh yes, the manual, that giant packet of paper they expect you to read like it's a classic novel. Half of it is warnings telling you not to drop the device in a bucket of water, which I already know. Though the longer I deal with the thing, the more appealing that idea becomes. Then you flip through 90 pages of diagrams and arrows pointing at buttons you don't have. The whole manual feels like it was written during a fever dream by someone who has never actually seen the device. I once tried to troubleshoot a smart plug. Just a plug, mind you. And the manual said, press the primary button. Primary button? There was one button. How do I know if it's primary? Compared to what? Its imaginary friends? Then the instructions recommended. Follow on-screen instructions. It's a plug. It doesn't have a screen. Unless I miss something and it's watching television at night when I'm asleep. Everything is slow too. Slower than ever. You want to turn on the heat, you tap the app, and then you wait and wait and wait. The spinning loading circle becomes your new roommate. You get so used to staring at that spinning circle, you start to wonder if the designers added it just to hypnotize you into forgetting how angry you are. That circle is like a Zen lesson. Let go. Release your expectations. The temperature will adjust when it is spiritually ready. You ever notice the loading bar always lies? Always. It'll jump from 0% to 70% instantly just to give you hope. Then spend 15 minutes edging from 70 to 71%, like a snail climbing a hill. That last 1%, that's the part where your patience dies. That's the part where you question all your choices, including why you didn't just buy a normal thermostat that didn't require a progress bar. And these apps, they're all obsessed with permissions. They want access to everything. Why does my toaster hotline want access to my camera? What does the vacuum need my location for? Where does it think I'm going? Does it want to meet me there? I had a smart scale once that asked for access to my contacts. Contacts, who's it planning? Call. Hello, this is the scale. Your friend has gained 2 pounds. Thought you should know convenience devices love complicating the simplest tasks. You want to dim the lights? Simple, right? You tap the app and suddenly there are sliders, graphs, preset scenes, daylight, rhythm modes, circadian curves. The lights want you to pick a color temperature. Do you prefer warm, cool, neutral, cozy, daylight, sunrise, candlelight, moonlight, Arctic glow, or industrial illumination? I don't know. I just want to see. Why does lighting feel like a science exam? And of course, the slider never lands where you want it. You try to set it at 50%, it jumps to 10%. You try again, it jumps to 100%. You dim it slightly, and the system decides, oh, you want full romantic ambiance, don't you? No, I'm trying to read the ingredients on the cereal box. Doors shouldn't be complicated either. Doors have one job, open and close, but not anymore. Now smart locks exist to make sure the door does anything except open when you need it to. You stand there punching in a code, hoping the thing recognizes you as its rightful owner. The old key never judged you. The old lock didn't ask if you were authorized. You pushed the key in, turned it, done. Now these locks beep. They blink. They flash red like you're trying to access a top secret bunker. And sometimes they freeze because they're too busy sinking. Busy! A door lock! Since when do door locks have schedules? And if the battery dies, well, then you're in real trouble. You ever try explaining to your house that you live there? You're banging on the door with groceries in your arms saying, "Let me in." And the lock stands there cold and unfeeling thinking, "I would, but you didn't charge me. Charge the lock." Imagine telling someone in 1985 that your door wouldn't open because the battery died. They would have laughed you into another dimension. Even the curtains have gotten involved. Curtains, the laziest objects in human history. All they ever did was hang there. Now they motorize them. You tap your phone and the curtains slide open, but not smoothly. No, they slide like they're waking up from a nap. They move 1 inch, stop, think about life, move another inch, and of course they get stuck halfway like they're indecisive. Should I open? Should I close? I don't know. You decide. I did decide. I told you to open. But apparently the curtains want to interpret commands metaphorically. And naturally, the curtains need updates, too. There's nothing more ridiculous than updating curtains. Installing firmware. Firmware for fabric? What new feature are they adding? Are the curtains going to tell jokes now, offer life advice, tell me the humidity levels? No, the update does nothing except break whatever was working the day before. And let's not forget the speakers. These were supposed to be the heroes of convenience. Play music with your voice, ask for information, enjoy hands-free control. But half the time you ask the speaker something simple and it answers with something completely irrelevant. You say, play jazz, and it says, playing weather forecast. No, I don't care if it's cloudy. I want a saxophone, or worse, it doesn't hear you at all. You shout the command like you're calling a dog. Play jazz, and it sits there silently, probably ignoring you on purpose. Machines have attitude now. You talk to them and they act like you're interrupting their break. And then, oh, this one always gets me. Sometimes the speaker suddenly activates when nobody said anything. You're sitting alone peacefully, and the speaker says, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Catch what? Nobody said anything.